I started meditating about 30 years ago. I learned my first meditation techniques from my first martial arts teacher. So the single pointed mind meditation technique is a very powerful concentration technique for meditation. And it involves concentrating on particular chakras. And the chakras are energy centers in our energy body. Not only do you develop concentration and the ability to hold your mind still, but once you become adept at this particular meditation technique on the chakras, you can raise the Kundalini energy. And the Kundalini energy is a very powerful energy of transformation.
Welcome back to day 3 of the 30 days to raise your frequency. I'm Rob Zaremba and I'm here to meditate. We're going to do a 20-minute meditation shortly. It'll be a guided meditation. It's a practice I do called the 5 steps to stillness. And what it involves is single-pointed mind concentration. The single-pointed mind concentration technique is a meditation technique where we focus on one thing at a time. I'll be including a free downloadable PDF in the comments below after I do the video here, so you can kind of get a quick start guide to this particular meditation technique. I've been practicing this meditation technique for a long time, and the reason why I love it is because it works. I've tried many different meditation techniques, and this one actually strengthens your concentration ability, the ability to hold your mind, your attention, your awareness on one point is the platform for true meditation. It's the springboard, it's the starting point. If you don't have the ability to concentrate on one point, it's going to be very difficult to get out of the distractive quagmire that is the incessant running thoughts of our minds. And for a lot of us, we may be sensitive, we may be psychic, we may be able to feel the impressions of everything going on around us. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do this 30 days to raise your frequency is to lift the mood, is to uplift our energies so that we are not AKA or victims, let's say, of being bound at home, not able to go out and do our normal routine, but to take this time and really focus our energy toward getting better at meditation. So we're going to be meditating every day for 30 days. These 30-day meditation challenges are nothing new. I've been doing them in the group ever since this group was founded back in 2016. And what I find is that when you meditate every day, you get better at it. Who'd have thunk it? But it's true, and it's hard to be motivated to meditate every day on your own. I understand, and so this is why I do this. Come on here, gather around. Let's all meditate together, and let's raise the frequency. Let's raise our energy. When we focus on the chakras in this technique, you actually raise what's called the Kundalini energy. Now, the Kundalini energy may not raise in the beginning. It may take some time to open up the blockages. The chakras are in your energy body. The energy body is a non-physical or subtle physical body of energy that surrounds the physical body. And it's the body in which we feel emotions through and from. So each chakra is related to various dimensional planes, and it's also related to various feelings and various emotions. So the 3 chakras that we focus on here are the navel, heart, and third eye. And that kind of takes care of business. We have a lower abdominal portion, we have a middle thoracic portion, and an upper head portion. In Chinese Taoism, in the Taoist techniques of meditation, this is known as the lower, middle, and upper Dantian. Dantian simply means energy center. So the chakras are extremely important for raising the frequency, because in order to raise our frequency and be able to experience and perceive in higher dimensional planes, we need to have a very clear energy body. The energy body can become polluted, it can become damaged, it can become blocked from many different influences, from our environments, from negative emotions, from being around an environment where people are unhappy, from being around environments where people are violent, where people are angry or negative. Our energy body is very sensitive, and over the years, chances are we've all accumulated a lot of emotional blocks in our energy body. So it's very important to periodically cleanse the energy body, which is what this meditation technique can do. And we don't have to do anything special. You just simply focus your awareness on the chakras, and it kind of takes care of itself. Now, of course, you have to focus with some intensity in the beginning, because in the beginning it might be kind of difficult to... I always forget I start my timer and it keeps running, but I like the bell. In the beginning, it might be difficult to feel this energy body, to feel the energies around the chakras. That's totally normal, and it's simply because we haven't been using it, perhaps, in a long time. Or perhaps it's blocked up from all the energetic influences that I just spoke of. So raising our frequency, raising our energy, is a process of honing and single pointing the mind on one point. So let's say when we're focused on our heart chakra in this meditation, you want to put your awareness there. And this is why I recommend placing the fingertip. Before we get started, we'll get started with the meditation in about 5 minutes. But when I'm placing my fingertip there at the beginning of each step, it's a way to prompt your attention to go to that place. Normally our attention is kind of caught up in a myriad of things. It could be caught up in thoughts. It could be caught up in bodily sensations. It could be caught up in projection of what's going to happen. It could be caught up in memory, imagery, daydreaming, that popular song that keeps running through your head, or that phrase that just keeps running through your head. It can be caught up in all sorts of things. So the idea is to take our attention that's being caught up, that's being scattered, that's being sort of attached to our senses, and bring it to where we want it to go. And in this particular case, we want it to be at the chakras, so that the chakras will open. Now, when we bring our mind to a very still point at the chakras, there's a number of things that occurs. First and foremost, you're practicing your ability to concentrate on one point. So when the mind tends to wander, you simply bring it back. When the mind tends to wander to a thought or daydream, you simply bring it back. And every time you bring it back and try to hold it for longer and longer periods and sustain that holding, you develop the strength of your concentration ability. Concentration is prerequisite to meditation. In the book, The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is a classic book I recommend for learning true meditation techniques, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali outlines the whole process of yoga. Yoga is actually a term meaning union. Union with the divine, union with higher consciousness. And this union takes place when we get out of the subject-object orientation that we're normally in. We're normally in a state of duality, in that we feel that we are a subject perceiving objects, perceiving others, perceiving an internal and an external existence. But this is known to merely be an illusion of the senses. So when we meditate, what we realize is that when we focus on one thing, after a certain period of time, we're able to, once our concentration is developed, we're able to merge our awareness with the thing that we're focusing on. And ultimately, we can kind of merge our awareness with ourselves, which is pure awareness or pure consciousness. So everything is consciousness. I kind of have a footnote to this technique. It's called concentration to consciousness. Consciousness is ever present, always existing, eternal. It's the substance and essence of all things. Source consciousness, some call it the witness consciousness. When we're able to perceive all things and observe all things without becoming attached, without interacting with, just as an observer, just as the silent witness, we are in a state of detachment. And this is the goal of meditation, to reach a point of pure consciousness where we are not bound by any sort of a limitation of our minds. We're not bound by thought. We're not bound by an identity. Because all of these things we experience and we learn are merely illusions. They're temporary mental states that sort of get in the way of our direct experience with life. So what this technique does is it brings your mind to a certain fine point, and you're able to hold it there once your concentration develops and once it strengthens. Now the second thing that happens is when you're focusing on the chakra is when where the mind is, the energy will accumulate. So the energy will actually work as a key to unlock or open the doorways of the chakras. And the chakras are doorways to higher dimensions, to other dimensions. But they also, when they open, just from focusing on them, and it's not necessarily, you don't have to do anything, you just put your attention there, and where your attention is, the energy will start to accumulate around that point, and you'll notice the chakra begins to open. Now when the chakras begin to open, this indicates, and this clues our Kundalini energy to rise up to that point. So where we are focused, the energy of the Kundalini will rise up. Now, the Kundalini, you may or may not be familiar with, the Kundalini is the energy of all life. You could call Kundalini concentrated consciousness in a way, since everything is consciousness and everything is one, but yet we have all these different names for everything. And this is just the product of our minds. Our minds are made to separate and dissect like a knife. They're very good at doing categorization, separation, division. So meditation is almost like a reverse of what our minds naturally want to do. It's instead of separating, we want to unite. We want to include. We want to make everything whole again. And when everything is whole again, there's no separation. There's no separation between the body, the emotions, and the mind. Ultimately, it's all one. So when we're focused here, when we say we are focused here, what is focused here? Who are we? What are we? Well, at our essence, we're pure consciousness. So if consciousness is focused on consciousness, about consciousness, it's all consciousness. What happens is that the consciousness, it's like the old analogy, the drop of water returns to the ocean, and the illusion that the drop was ever separate was just an illusion of the senses, considering everything is water. So there's so many different ways to scratch the surface of talking about it, but there's really no way to describe it without experiencing it. This sort of union that can take place. Now, I can't guarantee it could take place in 1 or 2 meditation sessions, but with practice and over time, especially with this technique is designed to bring you from wherever you are right now in your meditation practice into higher states of consciousness and eventually into the dissolution and dissolving of the separate self back into pure consciousness, which is our true native state. A meditative state, is the state of high consciousness, and high consciousness is a high frequency. So, when the Kundalini rises up to a particular chakra based on where we're focused, the energy level rises in our perceptual body. Our perceptual body is the energy body. It's the body that is able to perceive on various higher dimensions. And this is our true nature. We are multi-dimensional beings. We're not just physical beings. We have an emotional side. We have a mental side. We have many different dimensions. So with this meditation technique, we're kind of focusing on 3 of the main dimensions. When we first start with the navel chakra, it's focusing on more of the raw, physical power type of dimensions. And as we move up to the heart chakra, we're focused on more of these subtle, more refined, beautiful, emotional dimensions, the non-physical dimensions. Then we move up to the third eye, and the third eye is focused on the causal planes, the sixth dimension. We're talking geometry, mathematics, the constants of life. So, these are all very important aspects to our beings, to our minds, to our complete multidimensional selves. So, we're kind of like a leaf on a tree. When you look at the leaf, it's the exact picture of the tree. It's the baby of the tree, so it reflects the whole image within the leaf. You have the stem, you have the veins, you have the trunk, you have the branches. And life is just a replicated version of itself. We are a universe unto ourselves. We are children of God, you could say. And when you're a child of God, well, you kind of resemble God in a way, right? You resemble your parents in the same way. That we're all one. We're all connected. So ultimately, that's the highest state of meditation, union, yoga, the true meaning, to merge, to dissolve back into our true essence, pure consciousness, our true nature, our native state. So the problem is that through our lives, through the countless interactions, education, indoctrination, society, culturation, it's all given us a view. It's given us a way of labeling, judging, filtering life. And so these filters, layers, judgments, they all become obstacles on this path. So what this meditation technique will do initially is to help curb those tendencies. We have these natural tendencies of mind, and they're just habits. They're just habits from letting our minds go. If you're someone who has worked in a very technical career most of their lives, we're talking about engineering, architecture, computer science, and you have a mathematics, you have a very well-developed concentration and a very well-developed mind. So meditation might come easy for you. If you're someone who's kind of been lazy, who hasn't done any technical work with the mind, and the mind might be kind of soft, this might take a little more practice. But that's not to say that you can't get better. And so each and every time you concentrate on a chakra, it's important to focus with all of your willpower to try to hold your mind still. It's no different than if you're performing an exercise. Let's take yoga, for example. The physical yoga, when you're holding a posture. In the beginning, it might be very difficult for you. Maybe you have flexibility issues. Maybe you have strength issues. Maybe you have balance issues. But every single time you practice that posture, you practice that form, you get stronger. You gain balance. You gain, you get better at doing it, and it becomes easier. Well, meditation is no different. What we're doing is we're holding our minds in a particular form. And in the beginning, if it's new to you, sure, it can be challenging. But over time and repetition, we get better. And this is why we do these 30-day meditation challenges, because I want you to get better. There's nothing more that I would love than to have everyone be very proficient at meditation. This is why I started the group. This is why I promote this meditation technique, because this meditation technique is so all-encompassing, and it really does give you these benefits that you can see even after one session. You should be able to feel better, more clear, be more in the moment. So when you come out of the meditation session, you should notice that you're more present. You're not thinking as much. You're clear, and you're just in the moment, and you're being. So that's what this meditation takes you into. It takes you into the present moment, which is where reality is. So let's get started. We're going to meditate to some music. I'm going to kind of walk you through the meditation. And again, if you haven't downloaded your Shri Yantra yet, you can download that at the top of the group. I've got mine, of course, printed out and taped up on my wall. And I'll also provide a link again in the comments below after this video where you can download a free PDF quick start guide to the 5 steps to stillness, which also gives you another link to download the yantra. And that's all free for you guys. Okay? Now, if you are looking for a few more pointers, if you are looking for some more detailed questions answered, if you do need some hand holding, if you're new to meditation or you're a beginner and you just haven't found that technique that's given you the experience that everyone's raving about with meditation, then I highly recommend my group coaching program. It's a private group coaching program. I'm going to be offering that for $30 for a 30-day course. We get online, we have a separate private Facebook group for that, and we do 4 group coaching calls with Zoom over the 4 weeks. So it's a coaching call per week, and of course, you have access to the private Facebook group where you can get any of your questions answered, whether it's about meditation, whether it's about chakras, kundalini, energy conservation, anything related to meditation and mindfulness. I want to share my knowledge and experience with you guys. So we do this here in the group for free, but if you're looking for a little bit more of an advanced, a little bit more of a individual attention on this particular technique, I can guarantee you that after 30 days of the private group coaching, you will be very proficient at this technique. And if you're someone who really needs somebody to push you, there's no better experience than having that, coaching and someone to coach you, to motivate you to meditate every day. Because a lot of us, it's just a question of motivation. We might have the desire, we came into the group, we want to learn about this meditation stuff, but doing it every day, it just seems difficult. And I understand there's many factors for that. We can go into the reasons for all that as well. Our tendencies to want to avoid bettering ourselves. There's a whole myriad of reasons why we tend to avoid meditation. I just want to come on here and help you guys out, motivate you, inspire you, and this is why we do this. So let's get into the meditation, my friends. But feel free to message me with any more questions about any details about the group coaching. I'll have some more information posted in the group about that shortly. Let me get my Bluetooth speaker on. Normally I meditate to silence, and I use a particular app called the Insight Timer to time the meditation with certain bells. So there's 5 steps to this meditation technique. Step number 1 is gazing at the yantra, which is available again for free download at the top of the group. Print one of these bad boys out, tape it on your wall right in front of you, about eye level. Even if you only had 5 minutes to meditate, the yantra is great because it really gives you something to visually focus on. And with a visual focus, when we still our eyes, we still our mind. Our eyes are very connected to what's going on in our minds. And it's funny, you'll notice when you sit down to meditate that your eyes will tend to move, they tend to twitch, you'll tend to continue blinking even though your eyes are closed. And these are all the tendencies that we want to try to move beyond in our meditation. And sometimes it can take at least 5 or 10 minutes just to settle into it. So I like to start off with 5 minutes on the yantra, just to get that settling process kind of accelerated so we can move to the chakras and get that energy flowing and that energy going. Okay, and if I could just get it straight, I don't like a crooked yantra. Okay, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but here we go. That'll do. All right, my friend, here we go. It might be helpful if I connect my Bluetooth speaker. So step 1, we're starting off with the yantra. Then we move into step 2 at the navel chakra. 3 will be the heart chakra. 4 will be the third eye chakra. And then the 5th step is letting go and surrendering to the stillness. Let me Rewind that a little bit. Now if you don't have your yantra printed out and ready to go, you can pause the video right now if you're watching this later, print one out, put one up. I highly recommend the yantra. It's a great little tool to use at any time. Even if you just had 5 minutes to sit down and just focus on that yantra, that'll really help to still the mind and give you greater clarity and presence, even in 5 minutes. If you don't have the yantra, you can use any object to look at. You can just listen to the music. Here we go. Step 1. Focusing on that yantra. We want to look at that central dot. Take a big deep breath. Breathe naturally throughout this entire meditation. Alright, now that our concentration is warmed up, we'll move on to step 2, focusing on our navel center. Begin by placing gently the fingertips about an inch below the navel. Close the eyes and feel that spot. Feel the pressure of your fingertip on your body. Now, while the chakras are not in the physical body, they correspond to these areas near the physical. So what we're trying to do is bring our attention to one point on the chakra. Breathe naturally, and when you're ready, remove your finger and continue to hold your awareness on that spot. When the mind wanders or you drift off into thought, just bring your mind right back to feeling the navel chakra. Now move your attention up to the heart chakra in the center of the chest. Gently place the tips of your fingertips at the center of the chest and feel the energy in that area. Now move your attention up to your third eye. Between the eyebrows and slightly above, gently place a fingertip to bring your attention to that spot. Feel the third eye. When thoughts come in and out of the mind, just ignore them and bring your attention right back to the third eye. When you've locked in, remove your finger and continue to feel that spot. Hold with a steady concentration. Now for step 5, simply let go and surrender to the stillness. Be still. And slowly come out of your meditation. Take a deep breath. And we're back. But are we? Who are we? What are we? The process of meditation puts your normal tendencies on pause for a moment, so that when we return to our normal tendencies, they're new. We see a difference, a newness in our perception, in our feeling. There's a clarity achieved. Now, it may take a few moments for these effects to kind of kick in, if you will, after the meditation. But what happens is that over time, we become still during the meditation. And that stillness lasts throughout the day. And that enhanced perception lasts throughout the day. The deeper we meditate, the longer we meditate, it will affect us greater and greater. So this is a 20-minute meditation. And in a 20-minute meditation, we're just kind of getting started. All sorts of things can arise. What's important is that we try our best during each meditation session. And over time, we'll get better. So how do you feel? Now, for some, the music may be distracting at first, but it's important to try very hard to hold your attention at each step during the 5 steps to stillness. And stillness is the goal. So when we still the body, when we make the emotions still, when we make the mind still, it all comes together as one. Our frequency raises. Stillness is the highest frequency. And it can take some practice, it can take some time to overcome the normal tendencies of mind which occur. But this is the training, this is what the meditation is designed to do, is to notice the tendencies that tend to arise during our meditation session. The tendency to want to move our bodies. And it's okay to readjust every once in a while, straighten up the back, make sure we continue to have a good posture, take a deep breath every once in a while, reset, or to cleanse, or get some energy moving in our energy body. If we feel like a chakra is blocked, taking a deep breath, inhaling, exhaling, that can be very helpful during the meditation. But then we settle back in and immediately return back to that stillness, that high meditative state, and try to hold it for as long as we can. And in this process, what we're doing is we're refining ourselves. We're transmuting ourselves. We are changing through this training. We're becoming less affected by the little tendencies that we would normally pay attention to. We don't pay attention to them as much. And therefore, our mind becomes more refined, becomes more clear. We're less bothered by little things. Our minds don't bother us anymore. Our emotions feel clean and pure. So, there you have it, my friends. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you in the next video. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot. Take care.